Hello everyone, this is Donna back again to share with you another tutorial, and today I would like to show you how I've made these lovely paper mache figures, and I'm quite pleased with the way most of them have turned out. I've been practicing, and this was the very first one that I made. As you can see, being a first, it is not very smooth in appearance, but at the same time I feel that it's got a certain charm, and I'm going to be decorating it in any case. I like the way the form turned out. And then this is the second one. Actually, this is the best one I've made so far. Again, the form turned out beautifully, and it's a much neater version of the first. As I would be decorating, these figures, I would be finishing off the rough edges. At the same time, I do, as I mentioned before, love the simplicity of the rough edges as well, because I think it gives it a lovely form. So that is the second, and this is the third. I wanted a longer figure model, and the waist is not fitted, and I want three of these models, forming a trilogy, and I'm not sure of the middle one, because I just want the three to sort of be one, if you see what I mean. So I've decided to do a tutorial, since I'm going to be making the third one. So basically, this is what I did. I took a form. I found this in one of the craft shops. I really liked the figure, and it was about the right size. So what I've done is I've added some cling wrap around the figure, and made sure that the whole model is covered properly. And then what you need besides that is some newspapers, and I prefer these business, the pink colored business paper, and I've read somewhere that the quality is better when it's pink. I'm not sure if I'm right, but it just feels, I like the color as well, so I'm going to be using these sort of pink business papers. And what you do is you cut it into strips like this. You don't need to measure, but I believe this is just under 1 inch or 2 centimeters. I'm not sure, I just sort of guesstimate. And then what I do is, depending on whether you want a short dress form or a longer one, you cut accordingly. So I would like a longer dress form, so I'm going to cut the strips and snip it off there. Okay, I think I've just cut it a bit too short, but never mind. So you make a few of these, and I've already prepared some of these strips in a bowl of water. I try to separate the strips so that it's easier to pick them up when I'm working on the dress form. So I add one sheet, so the layers are separated by each one of these strips. So that is done. And then of course you need some glue, and I've just used some hobby glue and mixed it with some water, thinned it down with some water, and I'm using a cheap brush to help me along, and just trying to create some space here. I'm working on my kitchen top, so let's see, I also use a plate. Okay, so what I do is take a strip, if I can lift off, so that's a strip there, and place it on the plate, and I like to pencil or brush the strip completely before I add it to the figure or my model. So that is your first, and then try to form it, you know, and with the help of the scissors, because you want the waist to be sort of clinched at the waist, then I snip off just to get that in, and there, and the paper doesn't strain, because then it becomes all crumbly like my first model. I just squeezed it with my finger, and you sort of build around the model by adding these strips. So you can sort of work on 2 or 3, take a few of the strips, and it is a bit messy, but you know, I find it very relaxing at the same time. So this is what I've been up to during my Christmas break. So I've got a few placed on this plate like this. Just pencil it, and you can go over it, you know, just to get started. So you can snip off, you know, before you start. Maybe that's a better way of doing it, just to make sure that, there you go. So do you see the shape coming along already with just 2 strips? And then I normally add about 3 to 4 layers, and then turn the figure and just keep adding these strips. Okay, I think that's a bit too high, so I'm going to pull it down, and of course everything gets dragged down. Maybe the best way to do it is to lift it off gently, and then I'm going to snip it off here. Smoothen it a little, and just, the first layer is always the most difficult to work on, but it gets easier once you've done the first layer. This is a very small strip. I should have saved it for covering up, but there you go. this is all snipped up. And if it's too long, you can fix that later on. You can snip it off at the bottom. And ever so often I go over the worked areas with the glue to ensure that everything is properly, well and truly glued down. And do the same again here. You can overlap as well. In fact, it's better to overlap so that you really ensure that the whole thing is glued down. And just going to, because it's stuck down, I'm not going to bother to lift it off. So there you go. You see that the whole thing is coming along quite well. Just going to snip it off there. It can also look like a dart, so I'm not going to worry at this stage too much about the form. So there you go. So initially the camera space ran out and I had to free up some space. So basically this is what it looks like now. I've covered the whole area now with one layer. And you know, at the top I did this out of camera, you know, the bits that were sticking out, all I did was I just pushed it at the back and glued it down to follow the shoulder form. So you don't need to snip it off or anything, just pinch the edges with some glue and then fold it over, and that's how you get that bit out of the way. So I'm just going to continue adding the layers and working on the form, and you know, I stop after 3 to 4 layers depending on how I feel. So I'm just going to keep adding the layers. So what's good about this is where, you know, this is what I mean. You can just sort of push it down as you go along. And likewise here, you know, you just need to sort of form the sides. And it's always helpful when you sort of snip off whatever that, for instance, here I could just snip off a bit and then it would follow the form. So that is quite a good trick. Here, so it's looking good, and I may just snip off that bit there too. And then just use the brush to ensure that it sits nicely. Okay. I find it very relaxing doing this form. And here, now I've snipped off already, So I'm just going to push it down with my hands there, and where this bit is, I'm just going to snip it off there and try to shape it like that, you see, and then it would flatten. So that is some of the tricks that I've picked up after making 3 of these, and it's coming along fine. So I'm just going to finish off the different layers now that you've got an idea of how to get started, you know, and you've got all the tips. I'm just going to finish off the layers, let it dry overnight, and then I'll come back to you on how I get the dried layer of the dress form. Speak to you again soon. Bye for now.